All right. Welcome, everyone. So, another daily session of the core community guided processes using the spiritual engineering and empowerment processes that I'm creating live on the spot here for you to use and explore your own consciousness to navigate the four domains of consciousness, which I distinguish as mind, emotion, feelings and sensations within the body, and also the domain of effort. And as we navigate these four domains, we get to explore our own consciousness at the subconscious level. We get to organize our consciousness, reorganize our consciousness, dissolve conflict, restructure our perspective of ourself, others, and the world. All of our behavior is driven by how we perceive what's in front of us, what we're experiencing in any situation, in any given moment. And so that's all reflected in the way our consciousness is organized or structured or programmed or conditioned. And these processes give us a chance to navigate this territory, to explore the territory, to make adjustments in the territory, to create release inside of the territories. And I call them territories also because I consider these to be the kingdom within you, the kingdom that you possess that's really or meant to be in your possession. Many of us experience ourselves being possessed by mind, possessed by our emotions, possessed by our feelings and our sensations, or possessed by the efforts, the impulses, the compulsions, the drives within our being, the drive to take action, or the drive to change or correct or adjust something. Some of those drives, many of those drives are unconscious, they're automatic. And so through this processing, the spiritual engineering and empowerment processing, we get to explore all these territories, get an understanding of what's going on inside of us, and start to dissolve this conflict, release any tension, any resistance, any frustration, any pain, any emotional blockage. There's all kinds of opportunities here. It's a very simple process. It's mostly, I would say, even very easy, although some people might find it difficult to relax. Sometimes we're just so go, 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 or we're very stimulated. But if you're willing to just sit with this process and allow me to guide you through the process, you can experience the relaxation, the release, the calming of your mind, of your emotions, and the letting go of the body and its efforts, its feelings, its sensations. And you can experience what I call the core of your own being. That would be the spiritual center of your existence. I define the spiritual being as the one who is causational or creative, has creative potential, and is also aware or capable of experiencing or witnessing the results of that which the spiritual being has caused, that which you have caused. I do not consider a human being to be their mind, their emotions, their feelings, sensations, or even their actions. I consider the human being to be centrally, fundamentally, and essentially the core, the spiritual being, the one who's causing all of the mind stuff, the emotion stuff, the feeling sensation stuff, the effort stuff. And as we do this process, or any of these processes, I'm always leading you back to your core first and foremost through relaxation, through reconnection, through self awareness. And there's a lot of science behind what I'm doing. I won't get into all the details, but we're definitely making adjustments in how your brain is operating and functioning. Your awareness unit, that which is aware of what's going on inside of the mind, the emotions, the feelings, sensations of the body, and the world around you, the awareness unit comes into alignment with these other domains of being, the four domains. And by coming into alignment with them at the subconscious level, we can start to alter or shift what's occurring inside of us about a person, about a situation, about ourselves. And through that shifting of the occurring, we change the way we experience it and we change what's possible. We change what we can be, what we can do, and what we can have. And so I'm all about the re-engineering of this inner domain so that we can have the life that we want, that we can live the purpose that we ultimately are destined to fulfill and to live in this world. We have a high potential. All of us have a much higher potential than we're tapping into. This is a means by which we can tap into that potential. We can release what's blocking that potential, and we can start to get more related to ourselves There's that old statement that says, know thyself. Wonderful to say, but what does it mean? How do you come to know yourself? I say that through these processes, you can know yourself at a very intimate level. You can know what's going on in your mind. You can know what's going on in your emotions. You can know what's happening in the body, the feelings and sensations that you tap into. And see, this system, along with the efforting that we're applying to the system, this whole system with the effort included comprises what we call the human being. The mind, emotions, feelings, sensations, and the efforts are something that exists inside of the human experience. The spiritual being, the center, the core of you is the one that's generating this whole thing. And so this is an opportunity to get aligned to that center, the you that's the cause and the creator, and to start to shift the creation, which is the stuff of mind, the emotional stuff, the feelings and sensations in your body, the efforts that you produce, the actions that you take in the world, and the results that you have. So everything out there begins from in here, in this system of thought or the system of, being. So let us begin. And I'm grateful to have you, Lucy and Rachel. It's good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome, welcome. So appreciate you guys being here live. After we complete, thank you. After we complete the session, we'll have you, we'll just check in to see what you experience. Give you a chance, since you're here live, you get a chance to process a little bit deeper by sharing what you discovered, what you noticed. And that also activates a different region of your brain that allows you to better own the experience and solidify what you gained through the experience. So I'm excited for the two of you, and let's kick it off. I'm going to tune us into a little bit of music. You can begin by getting centered with the closing of the eyes and connecting to the breath. And just enjoying yourself in this moment. Enjoying the silence. And now, welcoming in the sound. And for anyone watching, this is just a relaxation process to allow you to come into contact with the core of your being, to experience more of who you are on the inside by letting go temporarily, just for now, whatever there is to do in your life, whatever there is to do in the rest of this day. Just now being here now, in this moment. And just feeling into the body, looking to release any tension that you discover, any discomforts. Just relaxing the region of the face and the head, the crown and the temples, relaxing all the muscles, just letting go. Let your face relax, let your head relax. Your lips, your jaw, your nose. Take a look, get connected to these parts of yourself. Begin to release any tension you feel in the neck. Shift your neck slightly, turn it, rotate it. Just loosen up and relax. Shoulders, relax the arms, the hands, the fingers. Gently letting go. As you let go of the body, it allows you to tune in a little more to the core. We would consider the body to be exterior to the core. So we're just going to relax a little bit more so that we can tap into the core. Relax the chest. the abdomen, your stomach. Let that go. Your upper back, your middle back, your lower back. Just relaxing the body, relaxing the hips, the groin, your legs, your ankles and your feet. Allow the body to melt into your seat, releasing everything to the best of your ability. And just start to monitor the breath coming in through the nose and out through the nose at your own pace. Let it happen gracefully, naturally, nothing to force. Something to connect with, to experience. And tune into the center of your heart as you continue to monitor your breath, noticing what you feel. What are you experiencing in your heart, in your body? Just exploring, just getting connected. Are there any emotions there? Any feelings and sensations? Just welcome and invite your awareness to discover what's going on and welcome everything into your awareness. Just to witness. Can you let go of any need to control, change, or fix anything about yourself in this moment? Can you allow yourself to feel a sense of freedom from that need to control, change, or fix anything? Maybe there's an effort to let go of, the effort to control, the effort to change, the effort to fix. Any impulses you notice to do anything right now other than just being here, just notice them and gradually, gently let them go. As we're going into the new year of 2021, with a whole year behind us, in this process, we're going to acknowledge our accomplishments. Acknowledgement brings a sense of completion and a sense of stability, a sense of wholeness. Builds our self-esteem. Oftentimes we're going through the day, going through our lives. We don't even pay attention to the many things we've accomplished. We don't even give ourselves that acknowledgement. Let's scan through the year. Just look for some of those accomplishments, great or small, that you would like to remember, to recall into this moment, to celebrate. Giving some credit to yourself. some accomplishments in your relationship, your business, your career, with your family. What did you accomplish? What does it feel like to explore these accomplishments? I'll give you a moment to explore and to feel the feelings that come with it. Just remembering all those things that you got done. Exploring what it feels like to just acknowledge you. Maybe you say to yourself, good job, well done. And look for the feelings, experience the feelings of accomplishment in the body. What does that feel like? Maybe you sense some fullness or a filling up type experience. What did you accomplish? What did you complete? What can you be proud of? Not in a vain, egotistical way, but truly proud. Like, give yourself some credit. I did that. Just continue scanning the whole time track of this last year, 2020, for things you've accomplished, great or small, with people, in your home maybe, the workplace, your social life, your community, your health and fitness. Just looking for what you've accomplished. Small or great, give yourself some credit. Just welcome in the feelings of accomplishment. Maybe there's some things people have acknowledged you for this year. Some praise, some thanksgiving, either through words or through gifts. How did people show you their gratitude this year for you? Take some time to acknowledge those accomplishments. That you showed up for someone else a certain way, that their life was bettered, improved. all the thank yous that people gave you. Connect with them, feel them, let them in. All the people who honor you with their love and their gratitude. Just bring your right hand to your heart, left hand to your lower abdomen. Really connect to that feeling of accomplishment. Accomplishments are something you've done, but what are the feelings? A feeling of gratitude, appreciation. Maybe there's a sense of acceptance. Feel it into the body. Welcome in all that praise, either from yourself or from others. What does it feel like to receive praise, to receive acknowledgement, to give acknowledgement, and to receive acknowledgement to yourself? Let's take a few breaths in to seal this in nice and deep. Through the nose, out through the mouth, nose in, mouth out, nose in, mouth out. Big breath, seal it in at the top, hold. Hold it, relax the belly, relax the neck, the shoulders, the arms. Keep holding with minimal effort. Swallow the saliva. Feel it running down into the belly. Tune in. Feel those sensations within. Keep holding. Make your lips into a tiny pinhole. Slowly exhale and relax into this beautiful acknowledgement, sense of accomplishment. The feeling of a job well done. Okay. When you're ready, you can release, let go. Rejoin the Zoom room, opening your eyes. So I'll just say thank you, ladies, for joining me today. I am blessed by your presence and blessed by this process. I really got to participate with you, and it was very enjoyable for me. I realized there's not enough of that acknowledgement going around for myself, to myself, although there are so many people who have acknowledged me this year. And I just was like, wow, that I didn't even get probably 10% in this little time that we spent. And I'm wondering what's there for you. What did you discover? What did it feel like? I was feeling fuller and richer myself. I feel more connected to myself. I feel more connected to the accomplishments of this year, and I'm grateful. With that, I'm complete. So if you'd like to share what you got, I'd love to hear from you. Just raise your hand if you're ready. And don't be shy. Go ahead, Rachel.
You know, you can always count on me, right?
Yeah.
I was waiting to see if Lucy raised her hand.
I know you're being patient, but what did you experience in the process? What did you notice? What came up for you?
For me, it was first like where I'm like the queen of telling everyone else how to be easy and gentle on themselves and how to love themselves. And then when it comes to me, I'm so like sneakishly hard on myself. I do it so masterfully manipulative to myself that like it's cunning. It's like it was really helpful for me to just like see like, gosh, look how abusive you are to yourself. And I needed this year to really just let myself be in it and not have any outside acknowledgement, really just accept myself, all of myself. And then of course being in lit program helped me really dive into that, into my shadow work and really just get messy and ugly with myself. And then like, just be okay with not being okay and being just a big hot mess. And, you know, I spoke at my daughter's father's funeral, by the way. I haven't been able to share that with you yet, but that was what came up with like, what have you accomplished? Like, first of all, we made it. We survived 2020. Okay. That's a big deal. And I spoke at my daughter's father's funeral, and like me being the dramatic one with all the emotions, you can't hold it together. I did it. And I didn't want to, and I almost didn't show up that day. And somebody came through for me that I coached that day and like spoke the word of God into me and was like, get back in the game. It's time to put your big girl pants on and show up. And I showed up for his girlfriend, who is a miracle by the grace of God. And I showed up for my daughter and for his mom. And I got to speak like his eulogy. Like that's a big deal. And there's so much in that. And then
what did you feel? Let me check in with you real quick. What did you feel giving that eulogy and just recognizing that as an accomplishment? What did you feel in your body?
When I went into it, I felt so brave and courageous because I totally didn't want to. And I was nervous, but I felt this confidence also of like, just do it, kind of as corny as that sounds.
Good. And I want to make sure
it was an honor. Yeah, me too.
We got to wrap up in
a couple
minutes here. So you got a sense of bravery and a sense of like courage and like.
And then it came with honor, just like, wow. Honor. It was sad, of course, but it was an honor to speak about, to speak of him. And it's still so weird, but yeah, I'm glad that I went for it and that I didn't sell out to the fear of like, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I blacked out. Like I could have sold out to all that fear. And instead I just didn't know what I was going to say. And I went for it anyways. And everyone was like, wow, that was really beautiful. I was like, oh, really? Thanks. So like, yeah, the going for it anyways. And then like, so what if I passed out? People would have probably picked me up and I would have been okay still.
So definitely acknowledging you, Rachel, for that accomplishment and the courage that it took and the fear that you just stepped right through. I really see that and I honor you for that. And I get that you also feel a sense of honor within yourself for fulfilling that. That's really beautiful. Really great way to handle a very difficult situation and a great reflection on that, by the way, as well. So I'm acknowledging you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for this process. I definitely missed this.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear. Well, thank you for that. I want to check in with Lucy. We'll go back afterwards. Q&A.
I want to hear from Lucy.
We can talk more, but go ahead. Thank you for that, Rachel. Lucy, what did you experience? What did you notice in the process?
I don't really allow myself to do that very often, if at all, really. So it was lots of little things that I didn't even really acknowledge, but it was a very beautiful feeling of warmth inside my body. Like you said, fullness, kind of like up in my heart area. And it was neat allowing myself to sit in that when I don't usually allow that. So that's what I got from that. I really enjoyed that. And for me, it was a big one of connection. 2020 brought a lot of connection with my family, with people I don't even know, pushing myself out there to kind of share myself a little bit this year. And so that was a big one for me, because I've been alone for quite a while. And even though we're in isolation in 2020, it's probably been the most connection I've made in years with people, meeting you, stuff like that. So it was just really, proud of myself for pushing through with that and sticking with it, you know. So thank you for that, Vince. That was really beautiful. We don't allow ourselves to do that very often, and I think it should be a daily thing, really.
Totally agree, and really get that, and thank you. And I get, for all of us, acknowledgement of our accomplishments isn't necessarily a habit that we have ingrained for most people. And so I hear, Rachel and you, Lucy, sharing, like these reflections. Like, it's oftentimes we don't think about that, and it's really good to do so. I appreciate this opportunity to create that with you. And Lucy, I acknowledge you for acknowledging yourself. I acknowledge you for really discovering that there's much to acknowledge. And for also stepping out and connecting with more people this year, and just stepping out of aloneness and starting to build relationship and grow yourself. And by the way, Lucy is coming into the Leadership Influence and Team Training program this year, starting in January, and we have a new program launching with a whole new structure, which I'm super thrilled about. It's just mind bending. We've had almost a year to accomplish last year's growth in the Leadership Influence Team Training program, where I'm training coaches or facilitators to lead the men's and women's groups, or coaches to work with me inside of the Core Encounter events, and also to deliver the Core Encounter group coaching experience, which we do a lot of shadow integration work. As Rachel was mentioning, we really look at these hidden areas within ourselves, what's missing. But more than that, there's a training and leadership of this work. We have the Core Encounter for those who are interested in doing the personal work. And that's just if you want to take a look at you and do this inside of a group of people who are going deep using processes like the one we're doing today, but interpersonal sharing and just different processes in groups or with partners that allow us to really make peace with where there hasn't been peace, to accept what we haven't accepted about ourselves, to stop resisting ourselves, to stop resisting others. We can start to dissolve those conflicting forces within ourselves through these ways of relating inside of the Core Encounter. And the Leadership Influence Team Training program is just a more intense level of this, where we're actually all training to deliver this work, to serve people in this work, and give people the opportunity to connect to the core of their own being, to make peace with everything inside of themselves and their world. So if you're interested in that, there's links inside of the description. We're now going to open up into the Q&A or other sharing part for a few minutes, so we can continue our little discussion here around acknowledgement and accomplishment for 2020. So that being said, if you guys have any questions or you want to share some other discoveries that you got in the process, I'd love to hear. Just raise your hand if there's anything there for you. Oh, you guys are being so kind to each other. It's so cute. How about Rachel? Yeah, I see you.
Because I'll always share.
And just if we can, just for the purpose of
miss this, I do.
It's for the purpose of the sharing, just keeping it relevant and connected to either the process itself and your accomplishments and acknowledgements, or anything you experience, so we can kind of stay focused on this region of our being.
Yeah. I mean, it did really bring me back to remembering this work and how much I love this work and these processes. And I have been wanting to come back, to the leadership intensive training. And I mean,
Be great to have you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was an invitation. But I mean, it reminded me a lot of the phrase that you also taught me of the reflection and acknowledgement leads to fulfillment. And I do find a lot of value in that because I've experienced it myself a lot over and over again. And it is vital to remember those recipes, especially when I'm sitting in the reflection of all the things that I think are wrong with me. And I forget the acknowledgement part of not just acknowledging all the things that I think I need. Like there was a point in the meditation when you said something about letting go of the need to like fix myself. In other words, and it is important to do the work, but to not constantly in the ego mind think that there's something wrong with me that I need to fix. And then it's like at a point I got a little too comfortable thinking that I got a little too comfortable with my dark shadow stuff. But I think I needed that. It was perfect for me because I really was always in so much resistance to anything that I thought was wrong with me or different or bad or shameful, that I like resisted it and made myself bad and wrong. And instead of just accepting it and embracing it, like I'm bringing love and light to it. And then it's like, oh, it's like watching, like from an observer watching me abuse myself. If my daughter was saying those things or doing those things, I would be like all over her or anybody else. And then when it's me, it's like, but I know I needed to go through all of that to be in this moment right now. And I'm very grateful. This moment is so perfect that I was like able to get up today and to show up. And thank you for having these. And I love that they're daily. And I have really had every intention to be here. And I'm so glad it was today for this perfect, it's like we survived 2020. It's like a really big deal.
Really good.
And I love how Lucy said, like, it's been the most connected. Yeah. And it's been like, it's brought attention to something that the planet and everyone needed so much. It's like we were told not to like, you need to social distance. And it's like, so us being human, we did the opposite and went and found other ways to us. And Lucy said it very beautifully that we had to make the intention and we really had to effort and get creative about, instead of too busy or blah, 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 or being on the gerbil wheel, we really had to get intentional about being connected in new ways and finding new ways instead of no excuses on why we can't. So I'm really grateful for this year, actually.
Thanks, Rachel. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You know, there's so much that you're sharing there, and I would like to highlight a little bit about what you spoke regarding getting a little too comfortable with your shadow. Like, yes, it can be, the shadow is that part of ourselves that we are ashamed of or we have been shamed for, and we no longer let our awareness view or experience that content. It becomes a blind spot. And even though we're choosing to like, I don't want to look at it, it's like the ostrich with its head in the sand. You know, if there's like a lion approaching and the ostrich just sticks its head in the sand, it may not see that there's a problem nearby, but there could be very much a real problem right nearby. And the shadow's like that. And the shadow doesn't contain only the bad or the ugly or the evil things. Our shadow could also contain very positive or what we would consider to be good or valuable qualities. Like we could put joy into the shadow, right? Because we are shamed for being joyful. Love, the emotion of love and the actions of love and the whole concept of love could be in our shadow. In other words, we just ignore it. We don't want anything to do with it because we're ashamed of it, or a lot of pain came to us through experiencing love. So we shut it out and we just refuse to be having anything to do with it. But other emotions like anger or our lust, our greed, there's tremendous amounts of sexual shame in the world, and that becomes an area where people don't want to look, and it just stirs up so much pain for people because there's been so much shaming, so much make wrong, so much conversation. The languaging and the meaning that's been associated to sexuality can create so much pain for people, as well as also grief. Grief can be trapped up in our shadow. We never fully experience the loss of someone we love, or loved, or that was important to us, whether they passed away or it's a relationship that ended, a friendship, or maybe grieving ending our school year, and graduating and moving on. Sometimes there's a grief of like, wow, I'm not going to be there anymore. Most people are like, I'm done with that stuff. But but the shadow contains all of these different parts of ourselves that are basically we would consider to be incomplete, unintegrated. Usually there's a negative connotation. I would say almost always there's a negative connotation associated to it. And so this has a drag like effect on our ability to produce results in the world. It affects our relationships, it affects our career, it affects our personal well-being. And as we begin to explore that, some people can be afraid to look into the shadow realm and be concerned because they have literally shut it out and they're working so hard to shut it out. And some, people are hyper positive because there's so much pain with what they consider to be negative, right? Like whatever the emotions are or the concepts or thoughts are. And so we can split ourselves and we focus on one thing and it's like, well, this is acceptable and this isn't. And we compartmentalize our consciousness into only allowing this. And then what happens is we have basically denied the fact that we also feel sadness. We feel anger sometimes. We've experienced this stuff. And when we start to make that wrong, we're not making a thing wrong. We're literally making ourself wrong. And once you start to make yourself wrong, your fundamental identity is going to be disintegrated. And when you have disintegration, you have not whole, incomplete parts that are not well connected. And when you have a broken system, basically, and you operate in a broken way, no human's broken. We're all operating perfectly, however we're configured, right? Essentially, within inside of that, there's always a wholeness and a completeness that brings it all together. But we need to open our eyes to that. We need to see in the shadows. We need to view what's hidden from our view, the subconscious domain. And these processes give us access to that. And Rachel, you spoke a lot to that, and I'm so grateful because when you speak to that, I really get the value that was created for you, right? And what it did for you to have that opportunity, and like the coming together is what I hear inside of your communication, like how you came together with parts of you. And that's my mission through all of this, through these processes, through my programs, through my coaching, is that human beings will come together inside of themselves. So I just wanted to highlight that and to say thank you for bringing that to my attention, and speaking to that a little bit. And I would love to check in again with Lucy if there's any questions that you have or thoughts you have about what's just being shared or anything else around the process before we wrap up today's call.
I just wanted to thank you. I thought that was a beautiful meditation and connecting to that part of myself once again. Like I think it's something. Well, I know it's not. I know it's something I need to practice, and that is part of my shadow of not accepting that I can have joy and pride, and not pride in an egotistical way, but you know what I mean? Pride that I'm proud of myself. And that's always been taught something to deny, that you don't allow that. And so it was very neat for me to feel that. And thank you for allowing that to awaken inside of me, or bringing the meditation for me to awaken that inside of me. So thank you very much for that, Vince.
So welcome. Thank you, Lucy. And I'll just speak to the pride component a little bit. Yeah, there's two forms of pride. Yeah, truth always has like two sides to it in our human experience. There's like a duality to truth, and both sides are important and relevant and define each other. But there's that unhealthy pride that is really a compensation for our low self-esteem or our lack of, or a sense of inadequacy, I should say, right? I feel inadequate, so I create a false sense of pride, right? I overesteem myself because deep down, I don't feel like I'm enough, right? I believe myself not to be enough, and I have the feelings associated with the idea that I'm not enough. And so I create this false sense of pride. I over glamorize myself, or I over talk about my accomplishments. And it's really a cover up for some deeper sense of inadequacy. But then there's the opposite side of the spectrum where it's just like not accepting one's accomplishments as valid or important, right? That's another kind of way to compensate for the part of me that resists being vain, right? I'm resisting being vain, so I'm going to be falsely humble, that false humility, right? I'm going to pretend that I don't, I didn't do it. It's not me, it's just, it just happened, luck, whatever, we don't want to talk about that at all. We just shut it down. and we don't want to be proud. There's two opposite types of shadow, but they're both shadow. They're both compensations, right? For some belief that something is wrong. Every compensation is that something's wrong, and therefore I'm going to hide that thing that's wrong, and I'm going to do this other thing instead. And that creates this resistance, and it creates conflict, and it creates tension, and it creates this efforting to be something and to avoid another thing. And that's not very freeing whatsoever. There's no sense of, I just am that I am, and I'm okay that I am. And there's no peace, really. I mean, a lot of people pretend that they have it, but and then there's a healthy pride of just saying, wow, good job, man. Like, that was really good. Like, you did a great job, and it feels good. And we have to create that association of pleasure to what we accomplish if we're going to continue to be motivated to accomplish. So we got to have that. It pulls us forward as much as the avoidance of pain is an important motivator too, right? So how we manage that internally can be better done, the management, when we process this way, when we take time to explore ourselves. And then, of course, the interpersonal dynamic, when you're sharing with another human being, like we do in the LIT Leadership Influence Team Training Program, or in the Core Encounter, when you start to have these conversations and work out what you're discovering with other people, you can really reshape your consciousness. You can really start to heal the unhealed parts of your subconscious mind, emotions, feelings, sensations, and the efforts you've been habitually applying, right? Your effort is that force you apply that leads to action, but also leads to any thought or any emotion, any feeling, sensation, right? Effort is something we can do as a spiritual being. I can apply effort to thinking. I can think, right? It takes effort to think. But who is the one that's efforting? The efforting one is the spiritual being. And so once we get into contact with that spiritual being and we start to distinguish these 4 domains of consciousness, suddenly we can reseat upon the throne the sovereign being that you are, the king or the queen of your consciousness, of the kingdom of your own consciousness. And so that's what we're doing here in the core daily processes. I call it daily guidance into your inner brilliance, that light that you are at the center of being, that causational being that you are that can generate realities. It's amazing. And we're just going to continue to do this and grow the community, share with the world. Thank you, ladies, for your contribution here. Your presence fills me, makes me alive and happy. I feel grateful to participate in serving you and being served by you through your words and your reflections. They help me grow and keep this going. So thank you, ladies, for being here. I'm going to end this live session, and you guys can hang out for a minute or two if you like. But thank you for being here. Another daily session
Nice
of
to
the Core.
meet